Hello. I had my breakfast, so I think I should have enough energy for this video. I'll go through these phases where I'll want to do like really weird, out there for me types of videos, but then I'll get tired of that so quickly and I just want to do these simple ass, just like sitting down and talking to the camera as I apply makeup types of things. So today I'm in that mood. I'm currently in San Antonio and I'm probably gonna be here until February. So I've just been vibing and playing with the dogs and just playing Resident Evil 4 lately a lot. Also Shin Megami Tensei 5 on my Switch. I washed my face, I put some toner on, now I'm gonna use some, obviously, cream skin. Okay, so I met a friend of mine that lives in Houston. His name is Andre. Hi, Andre. And I wanted him to experience this product because he was just getting into skincare, so I was like, you need to try this. I thought I brought an extra bottle with me, but it turns out I didn't. So I actually just gave him my bottle that was new at the time. And so for a while, I didn't have any cream dream skin with me. Oh my God, that's a big ass forehead. So I actually ended up buying my own product. Normally I could just ask for it, but I don't know, I just bought some. Also because I had to get some from my family. I thought I had some extra ones that I could give them, but I didn't apparently, so. But for that time being, my skin was not having it. It's so dry here in San Antonio. And so I had to buy like a humidifier over there. And also the water is so hard in Texas. So actually our family here, they have like softeners in the water. So it helps the water not be so harsh on the skin, but it feels weird because the way it feels is like, you know when you like wash your hands with a bar of soap, you run your hands under the water until that slippery feeling of the soap goes away. But because of the softeners in the water, your hands constantly feel slippery. That's the softeners working, and so it's kind of strange when I'm like washing I don't know when to stop washing my face because it almost feels like there's still soap on my face. But anyway, now that I got my bottle of this shit, so good. Also my mom, I made my mom, she's so like, there's this thing that runs with the girls in my family. They're like pack rats and they don't want to use things because they're so like frugal with them. So I'll buy my mom all this stuff and she'll like, she's, oh, it's so waste to use it. And I'm like, girl, just use it. But whenever she uses it, she's like, oh my God, it makes such a difference. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. And also, hold on, let me get my sunscreen. Actually, I can have this lav mic and just talk to you. I don't come to the States often, so I get excited about things that you guys that live in the States probably don't care about. Like I get so excited about CVS. So whenever I go, oh, this is not it. I get so excited about shopping for things like, I don't know, skincare at the drugstore, because there's a lot of stuff that they don't have in Korea. But I was looking for sunscreens and I found this one, La Roche-Posay. Anthelios 60. The texture of this is a lot like a lot of Korean sunscreens that are out these days that I really like, but there are two issues that I have with this. One, it doesn't look the best under makeup. It's probably just me because I'm fine lines now. My skin is getting thinner. I have to be very like particular about how I put products on my skin now. But overall, if you don't wear makeup at all, this is like a fantastic sunscreen. The other thing is that you just don't want to get it in your eye because this shit will make your eyes water. So I try to apply it around my eyes, but yesterday I like got too crazy and like, oh, my eyes were like constant, just streaming of water, just constant tears. Oh, and also another thing, if your skin is like, if your skin barrier is compromised and like your skin is going through like a sensitive phase, this might burn your skin because my skin was kind of like, you guys know, my redness around here. This area of my face is also often sensitive from either applying too much toner all the time, you know, constantly wiping my face with a toner pad. But my skin is better now, so I can apply it and I don't feel anything. But for how it feels, it's super lightweight. It's just like a moisturizer and it's such a big ball. You really don't need. For me, I only apply this much. I know people do like 2 fingers, but I have one of those really expensive, you know those UV cameras that can show you like where you're applying your sunscreen, so wherever the sunscreen is, it turns black. I've used even smaller amounts of sunscreen and like the entirety of my face is like covered in sunscreen properly. And I'll test it, so like from the morning until the night, it still looks the same. So I don't know, that's just me. But it basically disappeared. I don't think there's really a white cast. The one thing I grabbed on accident that I wanted to show you is this La Roche-Posay Lipikar Eczema Soothing Relief Cream. This stuff is really good. If you're like me and your skin is going through a period of like you need to recover your skin barrier, this and Vaseline, amazing. What I'll do is I'll wash my face with, they have like a cleanser that's like, it's not foaming, there's no soap in it. It's like literally just like a cream milk cleanser in this line. I use that, and then I use my cream dream skin, and then I'll put a layer of this or Vaseline on top, and my skin recovers much, much quicker. Before I do my makeup, I'm gonna put a lip mask on. This is my lip mask. This is the sample with the fragrance and it smells so good. It smells like strawberries and cream. So, oh. It's a lip mask, but even just as a lip balm, it's so good. It's so good, like Laneige lip mask. Girl, y'all, you better watch out. You better watch out. Let me start with primer. Like I told you earlier, my skin has been very, I'm getting older. I'm 30 years old next month. So my skin is not the same as it used to be. So I have to be very particular about the way I apply things on my skin. So I'm gonna show you how I've been doing my skin makeup lately. I bought this on a whim, just because I was at Sephora again. We have Sephora in Korea, but it's not the same as in America. The brands they have is very limited. There's a few American ones and a lot of Korean ones in there. Patrick Starr's brand, One Size Beauty, Secure the Blur Makeup Magnet Primer. I bought this just because, although it's dry here in Texas compared to, actually, no. Korea and Texas are pretty dry right now. Here it's warmer still compared to Korea. So, I still have to deal with a little bit of oil. I use about this much. This isn't like a silicone primer. Those silicone primers from back in the day that would make your makeup slip and slide. This one, I only put here. The parts where my pores are a little bit enlarged. I've only ever had one interaction with Patrick Starr, and it was before he blew up. When I first moved to Korea, kind of, and when I started posting a lot of beauty content, he commented on my channel once. He was like, oh, it was something about us beauty boys need to stick together. So I was like, yes, bitch. And literally not even getting the next week or month later, he blew the fuck up. So I thought that was interesting. Now he's got his own makeup brand in Sephora, and currently we are online. That's the goal though. To get into Sephora, right? Not really, I don't know. Do people still like Sephora? I have no idea. I feel like everyone's shopping at Ulta now. So I only put a little bit here and up here. Basically where most of my oil comes out. I have dehydrated skin, so it's the inside is dry, and the outside I can get a little bit of oil. I have to put a very thin layer of base makeup because my skin just can't handle thick amounts of makeup anymore. Oh my God, gray hair runs in my family. And my stylist even was shocked by the amount of gray hair that's been coming up. But I'm like, sis, the amount of stress that I experience often is not helping. So this is a product that's pretty popular amongst makeup artists in Korea. It's a German brand. It's called Malu Wilz Camouflage Cream. And I have 5 colors. This is what it looks like on the inside, right? You need such a this is professional makeup. So this is the most full coverage thing I own. So I depotted a little bit into this little thing that I got on Amazon. This is number 1, 3, 4, 7, and 12. They say that this one is supposed to cover dark circles and tattoos, but I feel like it's too light. It gives me that I just went to the beach for tanning but wore sunglasses the whole time kind of look under here, so I don't really use it for dark circles. You're supposed to use this and I guess use your regular skin tone over it. This one is a contour color. These are the 3 kind of skin tone colors. There's a lot of colors, but in Korea, ironically, it's the place where it's the most easily available. They only have 5. This is one of my favorite products. And the thing, these are only $5 each. This is $5 in Korea. I have no idea. It's a German product, but the easiest place to get is in Korea. I've searched high and they're not on Amazon. The only place they really have is eBay. So if you try to purchase these, go on eBay because that will ship from Korea. And if you're in Korea, get them on Coupang because that's where they're really cheap and easy to get. Or if you have a friend that lives in Germany, hit them up and ask them to get it for you. Although, ironically, I think they're more expensive in Germany where they're originally from. Anyway, I use this one a lot. This is number 12. It's kind of like a beige color that has a green undertone to cover up the redness. And this one, number 4, which they describe it as 4 Mediterranean skins. Anyway, it's the closest one to my skin color. You can color correct and then put foundation over it or the other way around. It really doesn't matter. Obviously, green counteracts red, right? But if you use a straight up green, there's a lot of color correctors on the market that are just straight up green, straight up orange, straight up peach. But the problem with that is that after you put that on, you have to then cover that color up with your regular skin tone. But if you can find a color corrector that's near your skin tone but has that greenish undertone or that orangish undertone, you can kind of just do both steps at one time. You don't have to put the corrector and then the foundation on top, right? Or what you can do is just take your regular concealer that's close to your skin tone and then just mix in a little bit of green eyeshadow or that green concealer like I just said. So there's many options, but this is what I've been doing. I take this Real Techniques, it's actually a setting brush, and I'll show you on one half of my face to show you the difference. And this is so full coverage that you need barely any on here. This is why I think it's sometimes good to, especially if you wear makeup, to kind of sit there and really analyze the different parts of your face, because sometimes people literally they learn makeup from YouTube and so they just slap on a thick layer of foundation when they really don't need it. Sometimes it's good to just sit there and kind of look at what you need to cover area by area. So for me, it would be this redness here. And you'll see how just correcting this area makes my overall face look much more even rather than having to put foundation all over. I forgot to do my my beard. This one, the Saem Tip Concealer in Peach Beige. This is amazing for both dark circles and like if you're like me and you have a beard that you need to cover. I like to take this fluffy kind of like stippling brush and just pat that into place. And also taking the same peachy corrector and using it under here. And then back to my green corrector, putting it this area. This area of my face is quite red. Using this kind of fluffy-ish brush with like a cream product helps you magyojo the pores, fill in the pores. So technically you don't really have to use a pore primer. If you have a cream product and you use a fluffy brush, you can use it to fill in the pores. And also a place I get really red is here between my eyebrows. So it's like a mixture of like swiping and then patting the product. Whatever's left on that brush, I use the peach corrector, I put it on here. What I noticed is that, because I have like this darkness on the outer corner of my eye, when you do eyeliner, this kind of like gets in the way, not gets in the way, but kind of like almost, because it's dark as well, it almost looks like it's part of the eyeliner. So the eyeliner might look uneven, because from far away, this redness looks like it's part of your eyeliner. So it's important to kind of cover that first before you're doing eyeliner, so you have like a cleaner canvas, I guess. You need to be careful though, because it's around the eye area, you could risk making it look thick and cakey. So using these brushes and like applying things in a thin layer has helped my skin makeup look much cleaner. So this side looks much more even, but I use like basically no product at all. Now to be honest, I could just leave it at this, but I do kind of want to go over with foundation. This is the one I've been really liking, is the YSL All Hours foundation. Because I already have this cream product on, I don't want to like make it even thicker. Pump some out here, this, and then just spreading it like this. So I have like a thin layer on my hand. That brush I used earlier, the fluffy stippling brush, I kind of just dip it here. If you pump out the foundation and just stick it right into that blob of foundation, it gets into the brush unevenly and you'll have a lot stuck in the middle. But if you do it this way, the foundation is only on the, you see how the ends of the bristles are white? That's technically where you're supposed to keep the product. And you'll notice that it's much easier to wash the brushes because the foundation only got on the top bristles. And what I do is I just stipple over everything lightly. I got a big ass forehead, Jesus Christ. I really don't need to do much of this though, because a lot of that cream corrector fixed most of my issues. So I barely even dipped into this at all. In fact, I probably used too much of this. I can probably get away with even half a pump or even less. One thing that I learned to do like almost 10 years ago and yet barely do because I'm so lazy is pinpoint concealing. So I'm gonna use shade number 4 of that cream camouflage concealer from Malu Wilz on this brush. I think one of the main reasons I'm so lazy to do is the idea of putting the concealer and then blending out the edges around it to make it blend into the rest of the foundation is I'm just too lazy to do that. So what I'll do is actually take a tiny pinpoint brush like this, plus basically something similar but more wide. This is actually a paintbrush, an acrylic paintbrush. What you need to do is take that wider brush and dip it into that concealer just a little bit and blend it on there. You're not applying with this one, you're just using this to blend, but you need product on there because when you do take your pinpoint concealer brush, make sure it's blended on both sides on the brush. You need to do this. You don't want to stick it in the concealer and stick it straight on because you'll apply too much. So at this point, people will be like, oh, you need to blend the edges, but I'm too lazy for that. So you're taking the wider one and you're literally just using this to pat on top. And I said it's important to have product on this one because if this is really clean, like nothing on it, then what happens is that it pulls product that you just put on. So having product on here already, it's kind of just blending the product that's on your skin. You're not like taking away from that. And then what you could also do is use the brush for foundation and use that to tap. So what I do is I kind of just like go over all the things I want to cover, kind of like the retouch tool on Photoshop. And there you go. That's one side basically completely done. Kind of covering your skin in steps allows you to get a much more cleaner, natural looking base that's still really good coverage, but not using too much product. I started with the color correcting that takes care of a lot of more wider areas, and then I kind of even everything out a little bit with just a little bit of foundation, and then that's when I pinpoint conceal. A lot of times when you have, especially if you have a lot of blemishes, people that are used to seeing themselves with all those blemishes, they'll think, I need to put full coverage all over, so that's what they do. But then really, it's kind of just like a few spots when in their minds they're looking at themselves and they're thinking, oh my god, it's all over the face, when really it's just a few spots that they really need to conceal. I need to change the battery on my mic. While I do that, I'm gonna also do this side of my face. I'll be right back. I'm gonna apply powder now. This is the RCMA no color translucent powder, but for travel, I put it into this little sifter thing that has like a mesh in there. So you can just dip your brush in and you get, it still puts a lot on the brush, but at least it's easier to Jung. And for this, I really just put it on my forehead, my brows, just to take off the moisture from it so it's easier to draw my brows, and kind of on my nose, in the sides here. For my under eyes, I have this flat highlighter brush, and then I'll use this here. I've actually tried this powder on darker skins, and it really has no color. Like, it really goes on well on any skin tone. I noticed putting too much powder can really zap my skin up, really suck my skin for moisture, and it really almost like makes my skin sensitive, because I have no idea. Lately, I've just not been putting powder around here, and it's helped my skin a lot more. Jesus Christ, I've been filming for like, what, 30 minutes now, and that was literally just my foundation. Okay, I'm gonna quickly do my eyebrows. I'm gonna use this little skinny pencil, this Justnormal Artist Brow Shade Slim. This actually comes with both a pencil and a powder. You use the powder to kind of fill in the overall, like the empty spots of the brows, and then use the pencil to draw like the fake hair or whatever. But I'm just gonna use this on the bottom of my brows just to get the overall shape, because I like to make my brows longer. And then using this Anastasia brow definer, it's basically the same thing, but just a thicker, kind of harder texture. I use this to fill in on the outer corner, going down, because that's how the hair grows, downward strokes. And on the front, that's where I do upward strokes, because again, that's how the hair grows. I don't put very many in the front. I kind of just place a few strokes and then just use the spoolie to blend it upwards. That will kind of give a natural blend, because the front of the brows is the most important part, because that can make it quickly give you like Jung, like Shinchan brows, where it's like thick ass brows. Oh, and also another note on like the powder. A lot of the products I use are self-setting anyway, so they don't really require powder. I don't like shine on my around here, so I just took it down with powder. And then some Justnormal Artist Brow Pomade. Feather brows, you know, the really laid down brows. I knew as soon as I saw them that they were very much just going to be a trend that would pass eventually, just because they look so extreme and I noticed that on the internet, especially with TikTok now, trends come and go even faster. So I'm just doing the front. I like when the front is kind of laid up. It looks much cleaner, as opposed to just the entire brow laying down and just think it looks kind of crazy. Eye makeup is just going to be really simple. I'm using my Cielo Beauty Daily Moodlette in Amber Sunset. Someone commented on my video of, was it Eden? The video I did with Eden. They were like, why this guy always doing the same makeup? And you know what? That's the kind of comment that's always haunted me for years. Like, I can improve on my makeup skills and doing people's makeup, but at the end of the day, I kind of tend to do the same makeup on everyone. And it's always like, made me self-conscious about posting makeup videos, because it's true, I do the same makeup all the time. But thinking about it, to be honest, with most beauty gurus, unless you're like a legit makeup artist like Lisa Eldridge, or like someone that does makeup on like as a professional job on like all sorts of shoots, magazine shoots, commercials, all sorts of shoots. For the regular YouTuber like me, that tends to be the case, because most of the time, if anything, you're kind of just doing your own makeup. I know I tend to do makeup on a lot of other people, but speaking for myself, like on myself, you kind of have the one face that you're born with. And yeah, we'll go through trends and, you know, try learning new techniques and things like that. But when you have a kind of like a style that you like, that tends to be just what happens naturally. Even for like someone like Pony, who is like a legit makeup artist as well, but she even said herself, like, when she does other people's makeup, they say that they end up looking like her, because subconsciously, I guess, we just end up doing techniques that we know on our faces and are familiar with on other people's faces. So also because lately, as you guys know, this palette, my other one, I've been like the only things I've been promoting. So I'll try to use as many colors as these as possible. So at some point they all kind of look similar or whatever, but I used to be really self-conscious about that and like not posting that many beauty contents anymore because I'll be worried about being like, oh my God, people are thinking I just do the same makeup, which is technically true, but I really can't help it. And to be honest, when I was making this palette, in my head, I'm like, oh my God, when people buy this, they're all gonna look like me, basically. But seeing a lot of the looks that you guys, that get reposted on our Cielo Instagram, y'all, oh my God. All right. Get a bit of concealer under my eyes first. So I'm using the matte colors in the palette just to get a base. One thing I didn't really mention is when I made these palettes, it's important when you have an eyeshadow palette to have like a especially with the matte colors, to have a gradient of colors from light to dark. Even if they're not the same color family, I made these a similar color family, but even if they're different colors, when you're looking for an eyeshadow palette, go into your camera. Usually most cameras will have like a black and white filter mode. If you do this and you look at the palette, what you want to look for is that especially the matte shades, the shades you're going to use to kind of like make structure around your eye, have a gradient from light to dark. That way you actually get definition in your eye. If they're all similar tones, they all kind of just get muddy looking and it just doesn't look pretty at the end. Having that kind of a gradient of colors in the palette really helps make a palette more useful, I think. Oh, and also one thing I want to say is that I've seen some people do arm swatches of this, but a lot of these, like I said, a lot of these look better, like these glitters especially look better when they're just slightly applied. But when you're trying to do an arm swatch, obviously you want to see it, so they'll put it on super thick, but on the eyes, you obviously don't need to do that. Like specifically this glitter, it's meant to be like a really like strong, like very clear glitters, but it's supposed to be like a sheer like wash over the eyes. It's not technically supposed to be like a thick, like full coverage glitter on the eye. I found this brush from Mayura, number 533. I think they actually have this on Amazon. It's actually pretty good at applying these glitters on the aiguisar. I always have to use my fingers to apply these, but I found that this brush is not that bad. You kind of have to like dip it in there, stamp it, stamp and kind of blend. Oh shit, I forgot to do the highlighter. Oh, that's so pretty, the difference that makes. I love that, I love that. Oh, by the way, I'm filming this on January 17th, 2022, and now until the 23rd of this month, we're doing a sale where if you buy 2 eyeshadow palettes, you get a Cream Dream skin for free, and you get free shipping. So if you haven't picked them up yet, I think now would be a good time because you get all 3, basically all the products that we have right now. Free shipping plus the free Cream Dream skin. One thing I've noticed as well, I posted those videos with my siblings or whatever. I don't know. People say we have similar personalities, which is like true, but I always felt like on camera we're kind of different. Only because like in real life, I really do think we all have very similar personalities. Introverted, quiet, we have opinions, but we're quite quiet about it. But I think being on YouTube for so long, I've almost in a way had to become more extroverted, which is why a lot of people are surprised when I tell them I'm really shy and introverted. They're like, no, you're not. And you know, the one comment I tend to get as well is that I'm very like, I'm the same as I am on camera, which is like true, especially if I'm friends with you. Actually, I lied. I tend to be much more like this when I'm not familiar with you. It's like this persona that I put on in a way, because if I'm my real self, I'm just like very quiet and like shy and don't want to talk. That's how I am, especially just in my daily life, just sitting there in my room alone by myself, just quiet, not really, or with like my really close friends, I'll kind of just like chill or whatever. Yeah, I think being on YouTube, I've almost in a way adapted to being around more extroverted people, if that makes sense. I don't want to say it's fake. I think it's just like a thing that comes with being with a certain type of introvert, because I feel like if I'm my like real self, where I'm kind of just like lax and chill and like very quiet, then they're gonna be like, I don't know, the one situation I just don't want to be in is when they're like, Ed, or why are you so quiet? I hate that. I hate like when people like try to include you in like the conversation, just to include you when they know you really don't want to be part of it. And also I just don't want to bring the mood down, you know what I mean? I don't want to bring the mood, the punigi down of like when everyone is like, yeah, and then I'm the one that's like, because that usually is the case. That's why my roommates bring people over. I tend to just stay in my room, because if they start trying to include me, I'll just be like, And so everyone's just like, oh, you party pooper. So I kind of just, oh my God, do you see? It's so like basic as fuck, but I love the way it just like adds, oh my God. Anyway, again, buy 2, get this for free, plus free shipping. For blush, I'm using the Milk Touch My Cheek in Sunset Rose. When I use that palette, I really like to use this. Make sure you always 양쳐줘요 on the lid so it gets in the brush, it's not just sitting on top. That's when you get too much blush. I put it here mostly. Just because I feel like it makes my face, because I have wide cheekbones, it kind of brings attention closer towards my nose so it's not so wide. I dab it here and then I kind of blend outwards. More patting than swiping because I didn't really use that much powder, so if I start swiping it might remove layers of product. Tap here and then kind of, it's like this like tap but also swipe motion. You want most of the concentration color to be where you first start, and then you want to kind of like haze outwards. You don't want to see any lines. My nose and on my chin, just to add harmony to the face. So your eyes kind of like, when someone looks at you, they kind of like look at your cheeks, your chin, like your eyes, it kind of like, you want this kind of motion when it comes to people looking at your face. And then highlighter. Glint, Dewy Moon. This shit is really popular in Korea right now. A lot of idols use this as well, or artists use this on idols, but. Ooh. I've been using my lip mask so my lips don't have that much dead skin, but do you see how plump and like smooth they look now? Because of that lip mask. Now, if I did have dead skin, this would be the time to remove it. Like I said, I already did this so I don't really have dead skin, but if I had put this on top of a dry lip day, my God, it would just keep coming out. Before I do my lip makeup, I'm gonna conceal the edge of my lips. Because my lips are so red. And then a little bit of powder on the edges, so this will keep the lip color from moving around. You don't want to put like a thick ass layer on the lips though, because again, the skin on the lips is really thin. And then when you put a lip color on top, it's gonna be more, especially if you're using a tint, which is what I'm gonna use right now. This is a product that we're testing because you guys asked for, originally I wanted to make a matte lip color because I assume, you know, if you're gonna wear masks, like it's weird to be wearing lip colors in general because we have to wear masks anyway. So I thought, oh, you know, people will want matte so it doesn't like get on the mask. But apparently a lot of people wanted glossy stuff, like more moisturizing products. So that's what we're doing. We're giving you a more moisturizing thing. And this is a more glowy, glossy kind of tint. So what you want to do is when you take it out, your tint, you want to take off the excess from the applicator on the, what's the word in English? The little opening of the product. And then I'm using this to get my lip shape. I'm not trying to get like coverage and like pigment with this layer. I'm just trying to get the lip shape right. Focusing mostly up here and down here because I want volume more in the center of my lips, not really everywhere. And then that little bit that I put on the opening here, that's what I'm gonna use for the color and for the gloss. Some people just put on the bottom and go, and that's fine, I guess, but what happens is the color that goes on the opposite lip is kind of just the stain of where you first applied it, and so it doesn't last as long. So what I do is I apply color on both lips separately, and also because this is a more glossy tint, doing this removes that kind of glow and gloss. So it's better to apply it in like 2 parts. At this point, you can do that. Oompa oompa. That's what it's called in Korean. Doing this, it's called oompa oompa, like that Red Velvet song. Honestly, for people that often wear lip colors, you can't really help but do the kind of but if you want to really be like a pro or whatever, you can even take a lip brush like this, like a flat one, and dip it into that tint. When you're doing it with the brush, you want to make sure the brush is really full of that lip tint, because if you have like a little bit on the brush, then you don't really apply anything. Run over the lips. This will take off any excess. Do whatever you want with makeup, but one pet peeve I really have is when I can see the amount of excess product on the lips, especially when like people wear a lot of lip gloss or like a lot of like lip liner plus lipstick plus lip gloss. That's fine, but just use thin layers. They just do a bunch of this, and so there's just like, you can see the thickness, and so when they're talking, you see like a lot, because it's something you can prevent. Anyway, this has been my daily makeup. I did a lot of talking. This video is probably an hour long, but if I didn't do all that talking, this would literally just take me like 20 minutes to do. For those of you on my channel that enjoy my more makeup, just my makeup videos, this one is for you. Yeah, I'll see you in my next video. Annyeong, bye-bye. Oh my god, I literally said annyeong. I'm like a straight up fucking Korea boo. Oh, and also one thing I need to clear up. My two siblings, the ones in my mukbang, their last name isn't Avila. They were born from a different father, so their last name is different from mine.